Now, and we document things in this video I don't think most people understand or don't know. I certainly didn't know. The eugenics movement had really settled on the idea of forced sterilization as the way they would control the world's population.
34 states had passed that.
Yes, over 30 states had actual eugenics boards, state eugenics boards. Over 30 states had them. The first one was in Indiana. And this is not something that happened just back in the 1910s or the 1920s.
No, this went on to the 80s. Amazing film.
Right.
It covers it all. It takes a snapshot that's in Endgame and blows it way up in full stunning detail. You know somebody who's black who thinks Planned Parenthood loves them and Obama loves them, when he, by the way, doubled the funding for Africa for this stuff? You need to find out the truth. You need to get this film at Infowars.com. We'll also give you their site to be able to get it as well. Stay with us. This is... You know, you can hear Mark Crutcher, and I've seen his TV program many times with his daughter and folks. They do a great job. They videotape the radio show, kind of like we do. And you can tell he really cares, and they were a small organization, but in the last few decades, they've reached tens of millions of people. We see the polls going from the majority of Americans being for abortion to the majority now being against, and even the media admits, oh, my God, people know it's a baby now. They're not, stop driving around with those cars with dead babies as other groups do. Stop. As if that's bad, but the act is okay. No, people are winning. We're winning by telling the truth. And to use abortion as birth control, ladies and gentlemen, is very wicked. They always love to advertise like, oh, you're against birth control. No, this is murder. And now it's babies out of the womb. And now the bioethicists are coming out and saying, and the eugenicists, oh, we need to go ahead and get rid of babies after they're born. This is in the mainstream news. So lifedynamics.com, short segment now. Mark Crutcher's on with us. The film is Ma'afa, Black Genocide, 21st Century America. Describe what the name means and then continue where you left off about abortion worked for them. And this is only one slice of eugenics, but devastating to show people why Time and Newsweek call her, Woman of the Year before. They put her in the top 100 women in history, say she's a great liberal who called black people subhuman weeds. Yeah,
well, actually, our video is called Ma'afa 21. Ma'afa is the term that's used by many in the African-American community to describe the time of slavery. It's a Swahili word that means tragedy or calamity or something like that. But and they call that time in history Ma'afa. And our argument is that the Ma'afa did not end when the slaves were set free. It continues to this day, and I think we've made a compelling case for that in this video, and that's why we call it Ma'afa 21. It's Ma'afa in the 21st century. And yeah, as I was saying a moment ago, sterilization was their big tool, but in the 60s they began to lose sterilization. The federal courts were starting to rule that these eugenics boards, these state eugenics boards and state sterilization boards, were unconstitutional. And it was at that time, for the first time in American history, that the eugenics movement then switched over and started embracing and began calling for the legalization of abortion. It's also at this time that blacks began to stand up and demand their constitutional rights and say, we're not going to take this nonsense anymore. And all of these three things converged at one point. You had the courts ruling against sterilization boards. You had the blacks standing up and saying, we're not going to be pushed around like this anymore. And then by I guess some people would say an enormous cosmic coincidence, the eugenics movement says, okay, if we can't have sterilization anymore, we're going to start calling for the legalization of abortion. And then suddenly, let me just add, they've set up the health boards, set up the eugenics boards of the health department, racial hygiene. Germany and the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute, as you know, for those that don't, adopts the U.S.-British model, and Hitler writes in Mein Kampf, thanking the United States and how wonderful it is, and for teaching him all of this, and now he's going to do this to the Jews and gypsies and Germans who had any health problems in their life. If you had a defective heart, they'd come grab your kids and kill them and say, oh, they died of ruptured appendix. So the CPS, abortion, sterilization, that's all going on in Germany. They get embarrassed after World War II. The head of the UN, the Secretary General of UNESCO, Julian Huxley, says, we'll call ourselves transhumanists now. So suddenly in the 60s, the blacks are saying, you're not going to, castrate me anymore. And so they say, you know what?
we're going to pay your women to not have you in the house. We're going to break your families up. We're going to turn the cops loose on you. And we're going to make sure those women then later have abortions. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And what you have to understand, too, you mentioned Kaiser Wilhelm Institute. The interesting thing is that the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute was actually funded by the Rockefeller Foundation. And Rockefeller and Carnegie Rockefeller was the primary one, but Carnegie also put money into it. And they were the ones who also funded the American Eugenics Society in Cold Spring Harbor, New York, which is still there today.
Called the Human Genome Project? Oh, that one?
No, it's now called the American Eugenics Record Office. But
exactly, but I'm saying those two nexus in together.
Absolutely. And we were able to get some of the information that's in this DVD that's never been released to the public. We were able to more or less trick them into giving it to us. Once they figured out what we were doing, they shut off the supply.
Yeah, continue with the history. We're going to break. We'll come back and tell about that. I mean, folks, you got to get Ma'afa 21, Black Genocide in the 21st Century America. Everybody's got to see this. You want to know? See, the smart white supremacists aren't got shaved heads and swastikas. In fact, those idiot, toothless people think when they're fighting the liberal establishment, they're fighting a bunch of, liberals. The smart eugenicists are loving and liberal with ponytails and Birkenstocks. Hi, and they are just sicko filth. But you get behind closed doors with them, you go to events, you confront them, they'll just go, shut up, we're going to get you soon, this country's ours, you're damn right we're getting rid of them. And I mean, they are, again, the smart ones are, hi, I'm liberal. I mean, very sick. Stay there, sir. Just amazing information. Ma'afa 21. Everybody's got to get it. Infowars.com. Stay with us.